Welcome to Foot the Bill, where we audit your favorite media. My name is Trey, and today we're looking at Wizard Thieves. Dungeons and Dragons, you say? No! Now you see me, says I. This 2013 thriller follows four wizards known as the Four Horsemen as they heist their way across the United States under the direction of a mysterious leader. Before we dive into their accounts, consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. We have fun here, and I'd hate for you to miss out. Now, let's establish how we're going to calculate Now You See Me. In the film, four wizards use large-scale magic shows to steal millions of dollars. They're pursued by an FBI agent named Dylan Rhodes and an Interpol agent named Alma Dre, as well as having to dodge the plots and schemes of their patron, Arthur Tressler, and wizard whistleblower Thaddeus Bradley. So we've got multiple threads to follow throughout the film. This film features an all-star cast, if you couldn't already tell. And behind the scenes, it was pretty all-star as well. David Copperfield, famed actual wizard, was a consultant for the film's stage performances and tricks. We'll be keeping that in mind as we move forward. So, we're going to track the approximate cost of each of the Horsemen's big shows, as well as any other tricks, schemes, tools, and supplies they use in their specific heists. We'll try to be as precise and exact as possible when we can, but some numbers are just unavailable, so we'll have to approximate. Due to the unwinding nature of this movie, some expenses will be revealed at the end as opposed to throughout, so be sure to stick around for the whole video to see just how much gets spent. Can four wizards pull off a heist worthy of Azkaban? Or are these street sorcerers destined for debt? Let's find out. The movie opens in Chicago on a Monday with a card trick for what might be the most public magic fetishist I've ever seen. Damn, she really likes magic. The wizard is Atlas, and I guess he's meant to be a Criss Angel type? The vibe is definitely present.
The closer you look,
the less you see.
After annoying anyone still working late at the office, Atlas takes his volunteer home to show her a new card trick. Neat. We transition to a rainy Tuesday in New Orleans, where mentalist Merritt McKinney is playing marriage counselor. It pays super well, and he is left with a gift from card captor Sakura. It's Wednesday in New York when we meet Jack Wilder bending spoons. What a chump, he was faking it. Didn't fake that pickpocket though. But it looks like someone left him a card as well. It's now Thursday night in Los Angeles, and Henley Reeves is trying to figure out fishing. She's got it sorted though, and her fishy friends left her a gift, a tarot card with an address. Apparently during filming, actress Isla Fisher actually got stuck while performing this act. Those desperate pleas from underwater are very real. Don't worry, she's okay now. The piranhas were never a threat.
Piranha.
John.
The four are invited to an apartment in New York where they're introduced to Zordon. I'm kidding. It's holograms of plans, magic plans, plans for a title screen. Okay, so let's break this down. There's a mysterious hooded wizard lurking around in the background of each of their performances, and he's dropping cards like he's about to wipe the table at the local gaming shop tournament. So, Hooded Wizard has flown from somewhere to Chicago, to New Orleans, to New York, to Los Angeles, back to wherever wizards come from. This film takes place in 2013, but the events depicted happened a year prior, making this flyby week in 2012 cost approximately $1,515.31. I'm assuming wizards don't qualify for frequent flyer miles. Next up, we have the theatrics in the apartment itself. There's a plate that releases fog when activated by moisture sensitivity, most likely, and three highly dense, high-resolution projectors that create a 3D model in the fog. So, holograms don't work like that. We have yet to create a floating 3D model with perspective shift that can exist in midair like that. The best we've achieved are really high-res surface projections onto screens or nets, or the illusions known as Pepper's Ghosts, like what you see in Disney's Haunted Mansion ride. You could even think of some of the holograms that you would see on a Nintendo 3DS, but even those are dependent on only one perspective being able to see the perspective shift at a time. You wouldn't be able to create that kind of illusion for multiple people in a room. What occurs in that living room is none of these things. It's 3 projections fired into a fog cloud that creates a floating image with a different perspective depending on who's looking at it. This is some Iron Man magic. And like Iron Man, sometimes the technology we want to build just doesn't exist yet. So how do we manage this? Well, that much is easy. We bill for the most expensive projectors commercially available in 2012 when this scene takes place. They have to be small, and they have to be high res. Back in 2012, these two things ran somewhat counter to each other. You see, 12 years ago as of recording, Pico projectors were in the rage all over the projector space. These little guys were tiny, like cell phone tiny or Mac Mini cut in half tiny. They were often wireless, could run off internal storage, a pretty neat idea altogether. However, they had super low resolution, usually no more than 800 by 600. For comparison, the copy of the film that we're using here is natively 4K, which I'll show you here. And here's 1080p laid over that, and 800 by 600 over that. So, not exactly high res. These could run around $450 at the time. At the other end of the spectrum, some serious home theater contenders can toss a decent image a good distance away, at the cost of size, weight, and, well, cost. JVC's DLA X55R, catchy name, would cost you $5,000 for the privilege of almost having 4K blasted out of a vented 35-pound shoebox. Neat. If you want a Pico projector with the full resolution of a full-body projector in the year 2012, well, it ain't happening. But projectors are priced by their resolution and clarity, so a sharper image is what we'll charge for. Each projector would, potentially, cost $5,000. The fog machine and moisture sensors in the floor are less costly, though somewhat silly to install in your floorboards. Then again, I'm not a wizard. Or am I? $145 for the Scooby-Doo tricks. 1 year later, the Four Horsemen are in Las Vegas, wrapping up a show, and they need a final volunteer. After giving a shout out to their patron of the arts, the Horsemen announce their finale. You see, these wizards want to rob a bank. And not just any bank. That guy's bank.
Well, my name is Etienne Forcier, and my bank, it's Crédit Républicain de Paris.
After strapping on his helmet of teleportation and having him step into the device, he is whisked away to... Wait, an actual bank vault? How the hell? He drops his card and ticket into the stack, and the AC kicks on. The money goes up and flies out over the audience. Crédit Républicain opens for the day, and is somewhat amiss. 3.2 million euro in 10s and 20s have somehow been teleported to Vegas. The Four Horsemen make it rain and take a bow. To my best estimation, this show is probably taking place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, which seats 17,000. I couldn't get a good estimate as to how much it costs to book the Garden Arena, nor did I ever get a great price tag for how much a big budget magic show costs, but there are hints that we can use for calculating. The first is that Dressler, the patron to the Horsemen, is obscenely rich. It's not often wizards have public patrons, other than kings and queens.
The only man here with the Queen's cell phone number.
Oh shit, maybe he's the secret wizard. Anywho, the next hint we get is David Copperfield, the key advisor to the film's tricks and shows. I couldn't get precise numbers on how much a Copperfield show costs, but estimates I saw were anywhere from $1 million to $1.5 million. Pricey, huh? Well, if we guesstimate that that show sold out all 17,000 seats at $100 or so, that means a sold-out night rakes in $1.7 million. 2 shows a day, 3 days of performances, and they're raking in $10.2 million. So for the Four Horsemen shows, we're gonna be using Copperfield numbers, $1.5 million per show. That covers the cost of set design and building, the crew to assemble, lighting, special effects, materials needed for tricks and performances. You get it. So, the four horsemen send their Frenchman through the wormhole into Paris, where he steals 3.2 million euro, or roughly 4.3 million US dollars at the time, and releases the money over the crowd. Bada boom, take a bow. And bow they do. They bow straight into the hands of the FBI and Interpol. FBI agent Dylan Rhodes is being handed the case of the Wizard Thieves, but he's not excited about it. Interpol agent Alma Dre seems to have made the case more interesting, and she seems really excited by the magic, but Rhodes is still not sure. Good news is they caught the wizards, so problem solved, right? Just asked them how they did it. I'm sure they're amenable.
First rule of magic: always be the smartest guy in the room.
Ah, nope, they're dicks. Dick wizards. Is that a phone swap? That was definitely a phone swap. Charge that phone! Agent Rhodes and Dre determine that hitting the wizards directly isn't the best move, so instead, they seek the help of a witch hunter, an ex-wizard, Thaddeus Bradley. Thaddeus is willing to solve the case for the FBI, or at least this heist. He reveals how the horsemen built a trapdoor into the stage, and a replica of the vault beneath. Very Ocean's 11, I like it. But what about the mark? He was chosen in advance. The seat, the man, the bank. The wizards incepted his mind to send him to Vegas. Don't look too smug about it, Thaddeus.
Really? Can you be any more of a condescending ass?
Yes.
The Mark's bank, Thaddeus claims, was selected via his credit card used to buy the ticket. Easy peasy. But what about the bank vault and the money? Well, that's also easy. They didn't rob the bank.
You said they didn't steal the money.
No, I didn't say they didn't steal the money. I said they didn't rob the bank.
See? Two wizards snuck onto the truck. Wizard Merritt, disguised as a cop, hypnotized the driver to stop, I guess. Meanwhile, Atlas and Henley were hiding in a hollowed-out aluminum pallet. After knocking out the guard inside with a sedative, their pallet opened via hydraulics, and they were able to swap the money. That's right, swap.
What is that?
Flash paper.
They replaced the money with flash paper that would, upon delivery to the bank, burn up without a trace. Okay, let's break down this hypothetical heist. There's the recreation of the bank vault under the stage, and the doofy helmet. But what about all the supplies France side? Well, let's start with the truck. Merritt will need a police officer's uniform and bike, although one could assume he just hypnotized a cop out of it. Then there's the sedative Henley uses to knock out the guard in the truck. And then there's the hydraulics pallet that she and Atlas hide in. And finally, all that replacement cash. And actually, I have some numbers for that cash. Flash paper, a common wizard's weapon against muggles, can run you approximately $10.75 for 4 sheets, 8 inches by 9 inches. This works out really well for us, because the size of one of those sheets is about the size of a 10 and a 20 euro bill put together. So that's 2 bills per sheet, 4 sheets per pack, that's 8 bills per pack of flash paper for $10.75. But how many bills were on the pallet? We know the value was 3.2 million euro. That's 160,000 20 euro bills. If it were split evenly in value between 10 and 20 euro bills, that's 80,000 20 euro bills and 160,000 10 euro bills. That's 240,000 bills worth of flash paper, 30,000 packs at $10.75 each, totaling $322,500 in flash paper. Now, the hydraulic pallet and the sedative I can only guess at, but something to keep in mind. We're assuming David Copperfield costs for each of these shows $1.5 million each. And that budget easily covers $250,000 spent on flash paper. Sedatives, perhaps not, but celebrities have been known to request some interesting drug cocktails while touring. I'm not condoning it, I'm just acknowledging it. The pallet can easily be billed under prop construction, so this heist is handled pretty easily. As to how they smuggled 3.2 million euro into the United States to airdrop through the vents onto their audience? Bro, I have no idea. That's some next level private jet shit. Speaking of private jets, it looks like the Wizards are on one. High Wizard Atlas is doing his best to cold read their patron Tressler, but man, he sucks at it. All he can do is get his boss's first pet and his mother's maiden name. As if that's at all useful. The Muggle agents are also skyward. Agent Dre is practicing her card tricks, and hey, she's getting pretty good.
Is this your card?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Down on the ground, Agent Rhodes is discovering the complexities of working during a holiday,
No, it's Mardi Gras, Dylan. There's nothing within sight of the theater.
while Agent Dre is proving that my 4 years of French are useful.
In fact, here, speaking French is actually a message.
Omelette du fromage indeed. Dre is trying to get Rhodes interested in some extracurriculars, but he's just not interested in magic. Back off, Squib. The FBI has technology to rely on. Apparently, all the working crew and staff at a Four Horsemen show wear tracking bracelets on and off stage, and the FBI have tapped in. The staff member who took Thaddeus's phone during the first show can be seen wearing one of these. That's good continuity. We see a box of 10, 8 of which are yet to be active. There's at least 20 visible on the tracker unit, and for a show this size, it might be reasonable to assume a crew of at least 50. Again though, this is all covered on the operational costs of a Four Horsemen show, $1.5 million. Before the show, we're treated to an episode of Wizard Ancient Aliens, I guess. Oh, hey, it's Thaddeus! Oh, he must be filling a promo for one of his upcoming DVDs. Oh, snap, Tressler has crashed the party with a lucrative offer. But Thaddeus can't be bought. Tressler threatens Thaddeus with lawyers and voodoo and stomps off. That evening, Thaddeus and the Horsemen exchange some magic tricks. Oh, that's cool, they snuck a card into his... Oh. Must be some sort of secret wizard language. The show begins, a stripped-down experience with an invitation to the audience to film freely. Take that, Thaddeus. This is a social media-friendly magic show. We're told to look closely and treated to rabbits in boxes, mass hypnosis, hats and rabbits, some actually impressive card tricks, and... bubbles? What is this, the Mon Calamari performance of Squid Lake? Oop, she almost died. Well, everyone loved it, so that's good. The closing trick of the night has the audience revealing their bank accounts, and then being summarily gaslit by Merritt. What a dick. But wait, what's this? They bring their patron Tressler down to the stage and reveal, with giant temperature-sensitive paper, that his bank account is going down. Way down. Like $144,579,651 down. As it turns out, Tressler, the insurance magnate, is just like every other insurance magnate. Greedy as shit. Everyone in the audience was ripped off by him and denied claims following Hurricane Katrina. In recompense, his wealth has been summarily redistributed by the communist wizards on stage. In true Robin Hood fashion, they flee via stage rigging into the ceiling and leave their hypnotized football team to tackle Agent Rhodes. Classic. The chase is on, Agent Rhodes and Dre believing they have the upper hand with their handy trackers at play. They chase the wizards through the streets of Mardi Gras, beads and full nip slips threatening the MPAA's PG-13 rating. A wizard's apprentice, or a wizard in disguise, slips a tracker into Agent Rhodes' pocket, successfully casting confusion on him, and the wizards sneak off into the night. Rhodes, drunkenly disappointed, fails to impress Agent Dre, although their tussle does hint at Dre's interest in the darker arts.
What's the Eye of Horus?
Oh, certainly nothing I want to get into tonight.
Meanwhile, Tressler suspects Thaddeus of being the fifth horseman. But no, says Thaddeus. Tressler is the distraction of an even bigger trick. Tressler reveals his trap card. Somehow, more money. He hires Thaddeus to hunt down the horsemen, and a new Muggle alliance is formed. Agent Rhodes finally reads a fucking book and is introduced to the Illuminati of Wizards, I guess. The mood is killed when Rhodes discovers his phone has been compromised. The evidence proves it. Don't know why no one thought to check this earlier, but that's fine. And the FBI decide that the bug is their advantage. The Horsemen have absconded to their secret New York lair. It's revealed that the Horsemen don't actually know who they're working for. But before they have time to find out, their cover is blown. Agent Dre is forced to stay behind while Agent Rhodes and the FBI storm the building. Thaddeus spots 3 wizards fleeing the building and asks Tressler how he likes his horse meat.
Shredded. I'll tell the chef.
Wilder stays behind to finish burning the evidence as Rhodes and Fuller sweep the apartment. Some totally awesome wizard fighting and voice mimicry later.
We're all good at 6, move to 7.
Copy that.
And Wilder is on the run, pursued by Rhodes. So, we never see any of this equipment in the apartment at the beginning of the film. If I had to hearken a guess, I would assume that based on the materials we see lying about, these items were purchased with the budget for the Horsemen shows. We've got a computer in the corner, some Legos on the table, a lot of paperwork, some miniatures of the stages, super adorable, I love miniatures, but nothing too crazy budget-wise. Since the last show was pretty well contained, we can roll these supplies into that budget. Wilder steals an FBI vehicle, and the chase gets chasier. Dre pulls up to give Rhodes a lift, and they follow Wilder to a bridge packed with traffic. One poor lane merge later, and Wilder is wilding across traffic, flipping, rolling, finally settling. Rhodes pops out to try and rescue the future wizard S'more, but it's too late. He does manage to swipe some important documents, though. Thaddeus incepts some doubts regarding Rhodes' French liaison.
Why did she request to be put on the case?
She was assigned to the case.
Oh. Luck of the draw. Like choosing a random card in the deck.
And we're taken back to the scene of the crash. Of course, now's the best time to introduce yet another anti-wizard authority figure into the mix. This one has been tracking a vault belonging to the security contractor Elkhorn, and apparently the wizards have targeted said vault. How much money is in the vault, Dre?
They've been hiding close to $500 million.
I didn't ask you.
Okay, well, I asked, so, eh. So, how did the wizards find the vault? Why, by accessing codes and passwords on Rhodes' BlackBerry, of course. Oh! Face, meat, egg. Silly boy.
Abracadabra, I'm taking over.
The wizards record and post a YouTube apology for Wilder's death, and announce one final show for all their fans. R.I.P. in peace, Wilder. The feds roll up on the vault, but uh-oh, it's gone. Oh, kidding, they found it. But once again, they're one step ahead of the wizards. They opt to use the safe as bait and follow it to its assigned destination. The final performance of the 4 Horsemen. The FBI jump Thaddeus, the 5th Horseman! Wait, nope, maybe not. Shit, I don't know. Thaddeus tells them to open the safe, but it's a bit of a gas. The safe has been emptied and filled with so many goddamn balloons. My ears shrivel at the thought of hearing that in person. Ugh. Back at the 5 points, we're treated to, oh, fuck me. I don't even, There's projectors hitting every side of the building, every foot, and they're doing that super cool 3D depth effect that doesn't exist. Ugh. Okay, well, Assuming this final show was also pre-budgeted through Tressler's funds, let's do the best we can and look up some very large commercial projectors. I mean, there's gotta be something, right? Okay. We don't need as high of a resolution because of the scale, so if it maxes out at 1080p, that's fine. But once again, we're left with a conundrum. Projectors have a maximum throw range for clarity, which is to say, there's a maximum distance you can place the projector away from the surface before the image is more or less invisible. Second, there's a maximum visible size to the projected image. As it turns out, 4-story buildings are somewhat of a big canvas to try to hit. But we'll do the best we can. Here's a large venue projector from Vivitech that was released in 2012 that can create a 500-inch image up to 300 feet away. That's damn impressive. The fact that this projector is also the size of a 4-door Fiat notwithstanding, we could theorize a situation where enough of these cuddled together, splicing a single camera feed could, hypothetically, be used to cover the side of a building. The film even suggests this, with what looks like beams of light pointed at the building from across the street. From what I can tell, every outer wall of this building is covered. It looks like the longest wall could be covered by 3 projectors, and we see those 3 projector beams. So some rough math later, and I think this building and the adjoining lot can be covered with 16 of these projectors at $17,500 each. This part of the magic show cost roughly $280,000. Wow, they spent more money on flash paper than they did on turning this building into a living art project. How the fuck? Anyway, inside the building, we've got 3 cameras broadcasting full-body projections of the remaining horsemen onto the walls. The wizards vamp as they prepare to take their final bow, distracting the fuzz with some mannequins. These goddamn mannequins be the death of me, I swear. The horsemen appear on the roof, and then appear on a different roof, before giving a final send-off into thin air, via projectors, of course. And they release $500 million into the air beneath them, and obviously, the horsemen prance away with none the wiser. Agent Rhodes and Dre share a kiss under the riches. Unless those aren't riches. Mon Dieu, the money is forged! $500 million in fake $100 bills. Well, let's see. PropMoney.com will sell you custom $100 bills, $25 per stack of 100. Assuming the horsemen replicated $500 million bill for bill, that's 5 million fake bills. Divided amongst each horseman, that's 1.25 million bills each. That's 12,500 stacks of $100 bills per horseman, $25 each, is $312,500 for each horseman, or $1.25 million in fake bills scattered over the crowd. Whew, that is almost the entire budget for one of these shows. I hope they don't have any more tricks up their sleeves. Oh wait, there's more! We're taken to the parking garage, an impressed Thaddeus walking up to his car. In a flash, the car bursts open to reveal cash. Oh, so much cash. Just pouring out. The cops roll up and Thaddeus is busted, presumably as the 5th horseman. When I saw this scene, I thought, man, is that what $500 million looks like? No, it is not. Here's what $1 billion in $100 bills looks like. That's 10,000 kilograms of money. $500 million would be 4 pallets of cash, weighing in at 5,000 kilograms or over 11,000 pounds. The maximum cargo capacity of a 2012 Range Rover is 74 cubic feet, with a max payload of 1,290 pounds. That vehicle could hold a single pallet of cash at best, $100 million. Now that's not chump change, but that ain't $500 million. Sorry, Thaddeus. Outside, the horsemen have absconded to Times Square to revel in their victory. The billboards and screens fill with their latest trick, and did someone hack Times Square? I don't immediately know how to expense that, but let's look into it. Apparently, back in the early 2010s, people were frequently hacking billboards in Times Square, and for pretty cheap. All right, let's add some electronics to that bill, I guess. The horsemen celebrate, and we're taken to catch up with Thaddeus in Azkaban. Rhodes wants to hear him explain just how this all went down. Maybe cut him a deal?
I've been framed.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, but I can prove it.
Thaddeus obliges, spilling the magic beans. The New Orleans show was a trial run for the New York heist. The horsemen placed what has to be the world's largest mirror inside the vault, hiding the safe, or as Thaddeus puts it,
The horseman left the real safe and transformed the whole room into a giant rabbit box.
And who stole that money from the safe? Jack Wilder, back from the dead. You see, the Jack we thought we saw die was in fact a stolen cadaver. Using a modified city bus, the horsemen swapped Jack with the cadaver car, let it crash, and got away scot-free. So let's see what we have here. We have what might be the world's largest mirror, hydraulics, thermite, We have a stolen cadaver, we have some spare vehicles, and a modified city bus. We'll start with the mirror. I wasn't exactly sure you can make a mirror this big in 2013, but as it turns out, making single panes of glass depends mostly on the size of the kiln. And making a mirror is really just a matter of making glass. The current largest single pane of glass was manufactured in China and measures 54 feet by 10 feet. 10 years prior to that, around the time of this film, a German glass manufacturer developed hurricane-proof glass for a museum in Miami, Florida. Each of those panes was 17.5 feet by 7 feet. So, what we can interpret from this is that single panes of glass of this scale were possible, but by no means cheap. Getting a price for these things was tricky, though. I called several glass manufacturers, and they really weren't interested in talking about wizards. However, Tressler being the insane man that he is, it's not unreasonable to assume that the budget for the New Orleans show would cover the cost of giant mirrors. As for how they installed their big mirror, well, they're wizards. I'll bill 350 mana between the four of them. Now, the bus and the car can also be somewhat explained. For big budget magic shows, oftentimes, performers will purchase spare vehicles and, blowing them up or crushing them, making them disappear, what have you. And it looks like the technology at the front of the bus is similar to a towing mechanism that one might have for pulling a car. So, a modified bus could still be budgeted under a magic show. Now, pressurized thermite contained in a backpack is also a little tricky, but not necessarily impossible. Again, these horsemen are insane. The scale of the tricks that they're pulling are insane. I could see Tressler budgeting that or allowing it to be within a show budget. It is negligible. And so, Thaddeus concludes, Rhodes is once again the fool. But Thaddeus is innocent. Trust me. Though it does seem like a stretch to do all of this just to frame one guy. And as far as we can tell, they never kept any of the money they took, though I'll still argue that you can't fit $500 million inside a Range Rover, which means someone has that money. So, what does it all mean? Throughout the film, we're dripped information about this wizard, Lionel Shrike, the guy who died trying to recover his career after being outed by Thaddeus. As it turns out, the four horsemen were camped out in his studio. The insurance company that refused to pay out following his death was owned by Tressler. The bank that carried the note was Credit Republican. All these threads connecting together, but what do they mean? How were the horsemen always one step ahead of everyone? Who could have been helping them? Who is the Eye? Who did this? In a twist, Rhodes teleports outside the cage. Dylan Rhodes, FBI agent extraordinaire, is the fifth horseman. He is a secret wizard, the avatar of the Eye. Magic is real and logic is dead! In Central Park, the horsemen have reunited at the Lionel Shrike tree. Their tarot cards magnetically stack and transform into a single transparent piece of glass that activates a projector, a light bulb, something? Okay, well hang on, that changes things a little, because now we're dealing with more hypothetical technology. Okay, so let's see. NFC capability, light in the tree, magnetism. Okay. Let's use the same method we utilized for our insane projectors and look at the most advanced handheld tech at the time. This was the year the iPhone 5S came out, after all. It was the future back then. This was also the same year that Google Glass was announced, a revolutionary heads-up display that basically projected a smartphone onto your field of view. Man, people look dumb wearing that, huh? Huh? Anyway, the world was buzzing with all sorts of new, neat technology that today seems a bit paltry. At its most basic, these cards are screens. They're static images that in one mode look like their respective tarot cards. When stacked magnetically with other cards, the static image changes to a transparent one with the image of the eye there instead. Now, the image of the eye is latent, It's the deactivated state of the cards. An NFC chip activates a light in the tree, telling the carousel to turn on, or telling someone to turn the carousel on, and everyone giggles with glee. So glass that changes when an electrical current is applied to it is called electrochromic glass, and it existed at this time. We also had NFC chips, so that's reasonable. But in order to make these bespoke electro glass tarot cards, well, that's not cheap. How not cheap? Assuming a company existed that made these things, you could expect to pay roughly $750 for each one. Toss in the electronics for the tree transmitter, and we've got our Central Park conclusion. Agent Rhodes greets them at the now activated merry-go-round, inducts them into the eye, and we're whisked away to our post-heist conclusion. Rhodes is in Paris, where he's tracked down Dre. Bonjour.
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 Rhodes reveals that Elkhorn built the faulty safe that killed his father. That's right, Rhodes is actually Shrike the Younger, a wizard's son. He plotted his magical revenge, going so far as to be employed by the FBI so as to achieve his wizarding heists. But he didn't account for falling in love. However, we account for love here. That lock looks like an Amtech 50mm iron lock. Can't guarantee that, but it matches a lot of the features, most notably that little brass plate on the front. Could be a knockoff, could be the real McCoy. Either way, it's about $5. And since Shrike is a horseman and he's stealing Dre's heart, that means that this flight to Paris counts. The movie ends, everyone's in love, and wizards rule. Hell yeah. So, how much did the four horsemen spend to perform all their tricky maneuvers? How much did they steal? And how much did it cost Agent Rhodes to be the Eye? Let's find out. In total, the four horsemen stole $648,895,751.40. By my reckoning, they might have walked away with $400 million in cash. But what about their funding? Well, here's where it gets interesting. We know that Tressler was the patron for the Horsemen for their shows, and we estimated $1.5 million per shows. Given the costs that we were able to determine, we can see that these expenses fall nicely into that budget per show. Tressler is a multimillionaire and insured, so yeah, he can foot the bill. But Tressler didn't pay for Shrike's plans, nor did he spend his own money sending Shrike all across the country to round up these wizards. So our budget has been split in twain, just not equally. The Las Vegas show, the New Orleans show, and the New York shows are all charged to Tressler. That's $4.5 million in expenses. Meanwhile, Shrike paid out $20,760.31 for all of his plane tickets, projectors, tarot cards, and Parisian locks. But can he afford it? Well, FBI agent Dylan Rhodes' salary would have been between $71,674 and $93,175. Now, assuming he was saving up for this scenario his entire life, which it's implied that he has been, and he set aside enough of his salary every year to accommodate his insane wizard plans, it's feasible that he could afford to be the fifth horseman. It would be cutting it close, but it's plausible. I mean, he might have to go light on some meals and after taxes on some of these things and getting time off, and you're not necessarily getting paid for your time off, but regardless, Dylan Rhodes, aka Wizard Shrike II, could foot the bill. Wow. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it. We were surprised by this movie. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, it scratched that heist itch. I think we ended up watching the extended cut of the film. And apparently there's another half hour of deleted scenes, which is insane. This is the Lord of the Rings of wizard heists, I guess. And, you know, if this video does well, maybe we'll do Now You See Me Too. Or, as it should have been called, Now You Don't. And, yeah, if it doesn't do as well, we'll probably throw it into a podcast or something. Give it some way to talk about it, because I really do enjoy breaking down these kinds of movies. It is a lot of fun. Now, coming up next is something we've been plotting for weeks, and we're really interested in how you'll handle it. That's right. Next time on Foot the Bill, Five Nights at Freddy's. As always, thank you so much. Special shout out to the Patreon and any YouTube members, still possibly getting that set up. Y'all make it so that I can do this nearly full time. And we're gonna keep going with this. I have no plans of retiring. I know I've been at this for what feels like 10 years. Nope, it's only been a couple months. Still very new to this. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm here to make stuff if you're here to watch.